right, it's JPEG Raw, show number 220 here on September 18th, 2018. And tonight, the theme is going to be Use the Force. Or actually, that's one of the topics we're going to talk about. We're going to get to that later in the show. Before we do that, let's do a quick little thing about, Tim, how do you subscribe to the show? I normally do these at the end of the show. I don't even have that ready. So we're going to delay just a little bit as that gets ready. I will say, oh, here it is. I will say that if you want to hear about Tim and I's Fitbit information, we'll hang out for the post show. We'll give a little bit of an update.
Yes, sadly.
All right. If you want to subscribe to the show, head over to jpeg.raw/subscribe. And over there, you can subscribe on audio format on iTunes, Spreaker, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, TuneIn, and Podbean. And for video, iTunes Video Large and Small, YouTube, Vimeo, and Podbean. And of course, if you're watching us live on YouTube, go ahead and hit the subscribe button and the little bell that alerts you when we go live. Also, let's say if you want to join our monthly photo contest, which is always fun, and we have some great photographers in both our beginner group, some people who are really coming along, and in our regular group. If you're a beginner, we have people of all stages in the beginner group, some that I would say are not beginners, and some that are really beginners. But it's a fun place to be if you're just getting started. There's other people that are similar skill levels, similar starting points, I would say. But if you want to enter that contest, go over to jpeg.raw/contest, and there are the two buttons here to enter. You can enter straight from the website on either one of these buttons, or in the Facebook groups if you're a member of Facebook. I know that less and less people are on Facebook, Tim. And so I've actually seen a little bit of a drop in the regular group, number of people.
Really?
Yeah. Huh. So I think a lot of people are leaving Facebook, but still, that's the main place where people enter. In these two, and doing it through the website, there's the button there to do it in either the beginner group or the regular group. And the theme again for September is open. There is a little bit difference. Once you hit that and you go through the form to fill it out, instead of having an upload button here, you do this, and I'm not going to do it live, but you do that, and it'll take you to an upload page where you're uploading it straight to my server. Don't send me viruses, because I will not open them, and I'll just delete them. But you'll upload them here, and the size limits are different than they were before. So it used to be the size limit was a max of 2 meg. Here you have a much larger max. We still want a JPEG. We don't need your full original file. I will say, what did we say, Tim? Like 2,000 on the longest end, something like that.
Yeah.
Something big enough that we could actually look at it. If you send it too small, we may not be able to give much feedback on it. But we use these images. One, we do the contest and pick a winner for the regulars group, and have a whole process we go through for that. But then also we use the images in a photo review show that we do every other Sunday and give critiques. And AD is fantastic with giving constructive critiques. He's not there to tear anybody down. He's there to help. So it's a good way to learn on how to do, take better photos, which is, what this is all about.
Absolutely. And everybody can stand to make a little improvement. And Lord knows, over the years, I continue to make improvements, and I help other people when they take pictures too. So
yeah,
when I
absolutely.
see my friends, especially with taking kids, and I think we probably talked about this multiple times, you take pictures of young kids, get down on their level. Don't point down at them. Get down at them to take that picture.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great tip. The first tip for the beginner photographers: get down.
Yeah, especially a parent, because they're probably the ones that are taking a lot of pictures and may not know it. And then when they do it the first time, they realize, most of them realize it, that it's more pleasing.
Well, speaking of tips, if you have been a subscriber all the way back to number 1, you've been here for a long time, you're sick of hearing me talk about one subject, right, Tim?
Backups.
Yes. All right, Tim, there's natural disasters all around the world.
Absolutely.
At different times of the year, but I tend to think about them mostly when they're affecting people I know or they're close to me. Correct. And right now, in the Carolinas, North and South Carolina, while Florence has moved on up maybe closer to where you are, the effects are still there. The flooding is still happening, and in some cases getting worse.
Yeah, they were talking about that the flood stage is still going to increase for another week, and I was listening on the radio on the way home today. The sun is out, but the flooding is going to get worse, and people are really going to be devastated. I mean, and you got to imagine a lot of these people really are devastated.
Yeah, it is a horrible situation. Water is essential part of life, but it's incredibly destructive. All that said, it does make me think, about people who are not backing up, because when you get in that situation, it is, your life. You're getting your stuff out and you're moving. You don't have time to think about little things like those things. The time to think about the backing up of your photos, because most of us are digital and we're taking those photos and storing them electronically somewhere in our house. The time to think about that stuff is way before that stuff hits.
Once you know it's coming, you cannot back up anymore. Other than taking your equipment with you, you're not going to be able to back it up online at that point. It's going to take too long.
And if you have a laptop, you might bring that with you, that kind of thing. But if you've got a lot of photos, it's not all fitting on a laptop.
Right. No.
So the time to think about this is for the rest of us who are not in that situation is now, and I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it because I've talked about this so many times, but I still run into people on a regular basis who have lost lots of files, photos, if not all, because they don't have a backup solution. So let's just go really quickly over it. Is get your original photo. You should have a local backup of that original photo, and then an offsite backup of that original photo. And I say original, but also as you make edits, those things need to be backed up too. So at least the local one needs to be an automated system, because if it's not automated, you're going to forget about it and not do it. The offsite one is going to depend upon a couple of factors. One, do you have the internet bandwidth to do it? Do you have caps that are going to limit you? So if you have a data cap, I don't have a data cap, and I have normally fast internet. So, I can back up all mine online. But if you don't have those two things, it's going to be a little bit harder for you, but you can still do it. You have to be a little bit more religious about it. Back it up to an external hard drive. Take that one off site and have a process of doing that where you back up, take off site, back up, take off site. That does mean that if your house burns down, a flood, somebody steals it from your house, you've lost everything since the last time you've taken something off site. So the best way to do it, of course, is automated. I use, just to give you the things I use, and whether they work for you or not, I don't know. But for me, the local backups are done through Acronis. It's a PC. I think it works on Linux and Mac too. PC to another computer in the house, across your network. And out of the computer doesn't have to be a server. It can just be another computer. It could be an external hard drive that you're backing up to that's connected to that computer. So and Acronis will do that, whenever you tell it to, how often you tell it to. So that's one thing to look at. It is not free. There is a service for that. And then the offsite, I use Backblaze. I left CrashPlan. I went to Backblaze. Backblaze will, I think it's $50 per computer, and it's unlimited storage. It's not quite as flexible as CrashPlan. There's a few folders that won't back up, but your photos, it definitely will. There are other free things, like I think Amazon Photo and a few other places like that may give you free.
Google Photos and
Yeah, they may give you free, but they're
you
not
get all
automated.
the quality that you, and you got to look at. Well, I think my Google Photos is automated. I know I use Google Photos and it backs up everything.
Hold on, how do you do that? Do you just put it to a folder on your desktop and then it copies it there?
It's a specific folder.
There's a difference between
doesn't
sync.
Get my edits.
Yeah, there's a difference between sync, like a Dropbox. Right. Dropbox is a sync. It is not a backup. And I don't want to spend a ton of time on this, but what is the difference? A sync service like Dropbox, you delete it one place, it deletes it everywhere.
Right. Same with Carbonite.
You change it one place, it changes it everywhere. I think there may be a way in Dropbox to not have it delete everywhere. But if you're syncing folders, I think all those things sync. With a true backup system, you have versions, and true backups you can restore from. I want to restore from last week. That kind of stuff. So syncing is good for certain use cases, but you really want a backup solution.
And I think one thing you mentioned, the second backup is the local backup, or actually I have a local backup where I keep it on a hard drive here, and then I bring it to my father's house and switch out a hard drive. And the reason for that is if you have a terabyte of photos and let's say your computer crashes or whatever, trying to download that back to you is going to take forever. Right. So that the download for an on-site online backup is great if you lose everything. But if you lose something and you want to get back up and working quickly, having a local backup is much quicker. And hard drives are cheap enough. A 2 terabyte drive is well under $100.
That's a good point, Tim. The local backup is your main backup. You accidentally delete a file, you lose a drive, at home. The local backup is your go-to. The offsite is more of disaster recovery.
Right. That's where your house got flooded and you lost everything.
Yeah.
And now you were able to get that.
House got flooded, fire, tornado,
theft, whatever.
Any of those things. Yeah. All right. And that's I got this site called up. I'll put it in the show notes. It's called the 3-2-1. 3 copies, 2.
Right. That's one everybody knows, I think.
Yeah. I always forget what the term is. What is it?
3-2-1. Well, that's what I always call it.
But what is the concept? Is simple. 3 copies of your data, 2 stored locally, 1 stored offsite. I think I've heard it done differently with that.
Yeah, I think because they talk about 2 different mediums also.
Yeah. I don't know, if I need 2 different mediums if I have 1 offsite, but that's just.
I mean, I don't think you're putting it on CDs anymore or even Blu-rays.
No,
that's not happening anymore. Maybe I know I have one of the drives I have is an SSD drive, but most people, I have a terabyte of photos. You're not getting. I don't have a spare terabyte SSD. No. I have a spare terabyte hard drive, but not SSD.
Yeah, I know some people listening are sick of me doing it. They already have maybe done it. So if you already done it, this isn't for you. It's for the people out there who have not done it, and you may be confused by how many different options there are. Take a look at Backblaze. It's not that expensive. If you have the bandwidth and that don't have data caps, it's really easy to install. It's very lightweight on your resources, and it just does it for you. You don't have to think about it. So think about that and back it up. You really want to get those photos backed up. You spend so much money on your gear, so much time learning, so much time shooting. You don't want to lose everything. All right, Tim. I do have at the end of this, I'm going to have another pick of the week type thing.
Okay.
But before we get to that, something I probably will not be buying, I don't think, because I've showed that universal lens cap, right?
Yes, we went over that the last time.
and I think, maybe some people will like that, and it is use case for some people, but not for me. I've shown the what is that? That tripod thing you can hang on your waist belt and that kind of thing. I don't know, that to me that almost may be more useful than the lens cap thing. But there's
the lens cap I didn't see any use for.
If the next thing I'm going to show you was cheaper, I might buy it too, and that is this thing called Arsenal. Have you ever heard of this?
No, I did not hear this.
So I'm going to play it. There's some music in it, so you will not hear it. It's going to be no sound, hopefully, because I don't have the license for the music, and I don't know if they use royalty-free license. We'll say, why does everybody show that bag? Everybody who does a
perfect photo.
It's not playing music, right?
No, I don't hear it.
Okay. Everybody who has a Kickstarter wants to show that Kickstarter bag, which
interesting.
It's interesting, but what this thing does is you stick it on top of your camera, and this is all showing you if you had to do it manually. You stick this thing on your camera, and why am I getting the circle on YouTube?
Yeah, it's not playing for me right now.
All right, hold on. Is it playing now? What's happening? I'm not getting any packet loss. We're going to pause that. So you're not getting it, Tim?
No, it's not showing.
All right, well, it's saying it's not connected. So hold on, everybody. We're going to have to see if we can get this connected. That's not the one I want. I want this. I may have just messed you up. Hold on. Jedi Tim. We're having a slight technical difficulties here.
Just typing into chat.
Yeah. It's not a packet loss. Something has happened. Something else has
no.
happened. This needs to be Jedi Tim 71.
Use the Force.
Light settings involves a series of complex techniques and formulas. As an engineer with a background in artificial intelligence,
Seen it again?
I knew I could build a tool to simplify.
Yes, now it's playing.
I wanted something that would let me focus on the composition, but would handle the details for me.
So back to this thing, I have to cut that out too.
The world's first AI.
What this thing does is it sits on top of your camera in a hot shoe, plugs into a USB port, and then it makes some of the decisions for you, and it like compares the scene to a whole bunch of scenes that it has in its database and says, all right, in this scene, you'll want these settings, and it kind of gives you a suggestion. You can put it on auto and do it for yourself, or do it for itself, or you can modify those things. It also does focus stacking, so if you say, I want the focus on these multiple points, you can tell it those multiple points, and it will put it in there. And it really is like taking the auto mode of your camera
and putting it on steroids.
Put it on steroids. So I know I'm glad AD is not watching in one scene on my issues, but also I'm not a big fan of auto mode. And this is taking it to another level. There are a few cool things it does. It will do, I think, the focus stacking kind of does it. You know,
through a labor-intensive
it takes the photos and does the blending all there for you, so you don't have to do it in Photoshop.
You can do this.
I don't know how good that is compared to Photoshop.
All the details in scenes with high
the issue for me, why I won't buy this one, I did buy that universal lens cap thing. That one
how much is this?
That one was only what, $25?
Something like that. Yeah.
This thing. So you get the idea for that. This thing, there you can see a photo of it up there. You control it from your phone. You could use it as a very expensive remote shutter, because you have all the controls there.
A very expensive remote shutter.
That could be because I forget what it uses, whether Bluetooth or some other connection. Let's say you set this up to take wildlife photos. You have a remote shutter that you can use from your phone from a distance. And you can focus with it and everything. That you can take these. You don't have to be right there. To take the image of the bird or the whatever it is, the squirrel. You set the camera up. It's almost like a remote camera, and you do that. Where with like my. I've got some other things here with it. My remote shutter, and I could now got all kind of cables along with it. What is going on here? As you can see, is a problem. But my remote shutter, I can only however long that is, which is fine for landscape and that kind of stuff.
I think that's. I'm trying to think because I have a couple. I have a remote shutter that does intervalometers, which is what I liked when I was building my pool deck and everything.
Right.
It would take the pictures of that. But that's probably about. I don't even think my cable's that long.
So if you have if you have a use case where you really want this auto stuff, or if you need a remote shutter where you have longer than what your cable is, which could happen, this might be for you. Now it is a Kickstarter, and they're just showing you the focus stacking that it can do. You tell it, I want these certain things. You pick the focus points in the image, and it will take the number. It'll figure out how many shots it needs to take to get all those things in focus. So that's kind of cool. It'll do HDR blending, or take the shots for the HDR. So if you don't know how to guess do I need 3? Do I need 5? Do I need 9? It'll do that kind of stuff for you, and then long exposure. all things you could do on your own. You don't necessarily need this. And if you rely on this, I don't know how much you're going to learn about your camera. So there's that. Cost-wise, let's see, it's down here somewhere. There you go. So the 150 price is sold out. Right now, I think there's 807 spots left for 175, and then the full retail price is going to be 250. So more than I'm going to spend for a remote shutter.
Actually, it's telling me there's only 704 left, but I don't have to worry about it. It doesn't work on my camera.
Oh, it doesn't work on a Sony?
Well, not my. I have the A77. It starts on the A77 Mark II. So, well.
There you go. So
I feel good.
You don't have to worry about it.
You know, this would have been a toy that I don't know if I would need.
Yeah.
Or how much you say we'll get out of it.
Okay, so here's maybe people who would use it. People who have a DSLR or a mirrorless, and they really have no desire to. They want to take better pictures, but they really don't want to learn.
Right.
I don't want. I know people who are like that they got the better camera because they want something better than their phone. They want to have some different lenses because go to the ball field, take pictures of your kid. This is not a good use case for that, by the way. But you want the better camera for those certain situations. But auto mode isn't always getting it for you.
Right.
And if you have lots of money to spend on this hobby, you can go and buy something like this and put that on there and let it make even more decisions for you and get maybe better pictures and do that. I don't think it's going to be that good of a learning tool, but they have a lot of interest. When I mentioned the 150 Kickstarter sold out, I think they don't say it here. I don't think I have the Kickstarter.
Yeah, it doesn't say how much it is.
Yeah, I think they've raised. Yeah, here it is. They've raised
tremendous amount of money.
Total of $11 million raised.
That's crazy.
That is incredible.
And I always wonder what something like that is. Did they expect it to make this kind of money?
I don't think so.
What was their development cost? And did they become instant millionaires with this?
Yeah, does it tell you?
It says 2.6 million raised on Kickstarter, 11.8 million total raised. So where did they raise the additional 9 million?
Yeah, that I don't know. It could be outside funding, but
were they on Shark Tank and I don't remember this?
I thought that sometimes they tell you their goal and then how much they actually got. But yeah, almost 16,000 backers on Kickstarter. Yeah, it definitely is very popular, and a lot of people have interest in it. So if you're interested in it, go out and check out Arsenal, Arsenal, and take a look at it.
I'm actually looking it up on now on Kickstarter, but I don't see it.
Okay, Tim, and I know people are saying, Mike, you talk so much about Nikon mirrorless. Other people have released their mirrorless cameras now too. It's not just Nikon. One, I shoot Nikon. That's all I shoot. So I'm partial to Nikon. Two, we're never going to become a review show, because
right.
One, I don't have the time. Two, I'm not that good at it. And three, there's lots of other people doing it, so you don't need me to review it. But that said, Canon has now released, and I believe maybe Fuji or there's multiple people who are releasing mirrorless now. Mm-hmm. But Canon has released their mirrorless. They released one camera, one mirrorless camera, and it's the Canon EOS R 30. I think it's 30 megapixel. I don't know where I see that. It sits, maybe in the middle of the Nikon, the two Nikons, the Nikon Z6, Z7. It's a little bit more megapixel at 30 versus the Z6, and a little less than the Z7. So I think if you're a Canon shooter, you now have a choice there. They did change the lens mount, just like with Nikon. Mm-hmm. They changed the lens mount. I will say, so before when we were talking, Tim, let's see, here it is over on the famous Ken Rockwell site, the EOS R. And it's not a bad looking camera. I mean, both Nikon and Canon put out decent looking mirrorless cameras that should compete well with Sony. The issue, the Canon has the same issue as the Nikon in that the 4K is only 30 frames per second. On top of that, the Canon does 4K video. We're talking about video. 4K video in crop mode. So it's not full frame. It's like a 2x crop mode. So it's like more crop than even a crop sensor camera.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know why they did that. They do have the little flip out on the back. Unlike the Nikon, it does flip all the way. I don't know if there's a photo of it here somewhere on Ken's site. See if I can find it. I know I'm scrolling through here really fast.
And they got in there did you click on which one?
He doesn't.
I think you're in a different one with that because it's comparing the three cameras side by side, the Nikon, Canon, and Sony.
I'll get to that. I'll get to that in a second. I do want to say, you remember back with the Nikon, I was asking, why do they have that big bulge at the bottom of the adapter? This is the Canon adapter. And I was wondering why. Right. And I think somebody in chat said that's the tripod mount.
The tripod mount. Right.
And I maybe that's true. I don't know. I believe him when he said it. I'm not sure why we need it on the adapter. It just looked odd. The Canon adapter does not have it. The Canon adapter, and I think they have more than one adapter. They also have an adapter that allows you to put filters, drop-in filters in the adapter. So that's really cool. Maybe you have a lens that doesn't have a screw mount on the front, and you can't put a filter on it, and you want to put filters. Well, this adapter will allow you to put filters into it. So that's the case. So I think with the Canon one, there are some pluses, there are some minuses. Some things it did better than Nikon, some things it didn't do as good. They don't have image stabilization inside on the sensor, but I think they came out with 3 lenses. So you were talking about the comparison. Here's a feature comparison over here on fullexposurephotography.com. And they have a side by side of the Sony A7 III, the Canon EOS R, and the Nikon Z6, which are the 3 that are the most comparable. They're all right in that $2,000 price range. The Canon's a little bit more expensive. Let's see, the specs down here. Where does it say the megapixels? Yeah, the Sony is 24 megapixels, the Canon's 30, and the Nikon's 24 also. The dynamic range on the Canon, according to this, is a little bit less than the other two, but all really close. Oh, I don't know if it says it here, but I also heard that it has the same issue as the Nikon. While its frames per second are decent, its frames per second where it can autofocus and autometer is still limited to 5 frames per second, just like the Nikon one. Why they did that, I don't know. It also only has 1 card slot, just like the Nikon, which makes a lot of people upset. What else? There's another thing I wanted to say. Oh, it does have you can get a grip for it, a vertical grip for it, that has the buttons on it where you can actually, use the shutter button on the vertical grip. Novice thing. That's what they could all do before then. The Nikon one doesn't. It has a vertical grip that doesn't have the buttons on it. So all you get with the Nikon vertical grip is another battery. What idiot made that decision? So
really, how do you feel?
I don't know. It's sometimes I don't know if the marketing and the engineering or whoever it is decides
they don't talk to each other.
Yeah, I don't know if it's what they're doing and saying that, hey, we can add all these features, but we're going to wait so we can come out with version 2 with more features, or maybe they run into technical problems and can't add the features. I don't know. I don't know which case it is. But
that's why I'm looking at one thing I didn't realize. The Nikon I know went to the camera stabilization, which is the same as Sony, but Canon stayed with lens only, which means their new lenses that people are going to have to buy are going to be more expensive just because you have to have stabilization there, even though they are saying 100% compatible with adapters of every lens made since 1987. So that's quite a bit. But I think if you're going to go to this, most of the new lenses on the mirrorless are actually smaller than the comparable SLR lens. So if you're going to get the benefit of it, you're going to want to replace everything. I think if I was to do this, I'd probably go all in, sell off my equipment and do it. And I just haven't been able to pull that trigger to go do that yet.
Yeah. I think it's only going to get better. To be honest, I think if you're a Nikon or Canon user and you're thinking to move into Sony, this should give you pause, and you should say, maybe unless you were just right on the edge already about to do it, this should give you pause to say, I'm going to stick it out with my brand a little bit longer. I got all this invested there. From what I hear, the Canon adapter works well with the current lenses, so you can use your current lenses, and maybe over time get more that way. What I wonder is, so let's talk about on the Nikon side. The top of the line Nikons are the D5 and the D850. So I got to imagine that there will be at least one more generation of those. A D6, a D whatever, 860. They went from 810 to 850, or maybe they did 820. They skipped some numbers in between. So I don't know if the next 850 is going to be an 860, or somehow we go to 880 or something. Who knows? But I got to imagine there's one more generation of those. So the question is there 2 more generations of those, 3 more generations? At what point does Nikon and Canon, and I only really know the Nikon side, does Nikon, but when I say Nikon, think Canon too. Does Nikon decide, no, the next D850, the next D5 is going to be a mirrorless? So I don't think it's one generation. I probably don't think it's 2 generations of those cameras, but 3 generations, maybe so. I mean, they're only releasing these every couple of years, maybe 2.5 years.
Yeah, I think you're going to see less and less of this. 2
generations is 5 years from now. So the mirrorless is only getting better. And will they start it with the top of the line or with the bottom of the line? Will the next D5000, whatever version they're in, no longer be mirrored, just be mirrorless? I think that's where everything's heading. If you already own all these lenses and everything else, I don't think this is, you jump ship right now and move over to mirrorless. As they'll have the adapters and you can use your current lenses. So I'm in no hurry, like I've said before, no hurry to move over. I'll move over when the camera is something that I want to move over to.
Well, I was just looking at the Sony website, and my camera, I bought the A77, and I think the last time I looked at it was probably 8 years old. They have the A77 II, which is probably 5 years old. Mm-hmm. And I don't see an A77 Mark III coming, and probably never will. I think they're moving away from those old, and mine's actually a mirrorless camera already. It's single lens translucent. I didn't have a mirror that would flap up in mine. So I'm already away from that, and they've gone fully with the A7 line. So yeah. I'm either stuck with what I have, or I'm going to have to move up, because I'm not going to be able to buy another camera in my grouping, not from Sony at least.
Yeah, so. I mean, technology keeps moving, so you can never future-proof yourself.
No, you can't.
There are, these cameras are still really new, the Canon and Nikon one. And I think Fuji has one too, but to be honest, I don't track it that much, so don't hate me. I just don't. I mainly just pay attention to Nikon. The early reviews on these are mixed. There's some positives, some negatives. I was watching one tonight on Canon, and there's some banding issues, but the banding issues I saw is when they were doing like a 5-stop recovery of shadows. Mm-hmm. And it was there. It was definitely there. So the question is, was it there in a more minute situation? Maybe with a 1-stop recovery or 2-stop. I can't recall the last time I needed to do a 5-stop recovery in an image that I was actually going to do anything with. I have accidentally shot 5 stops under before, but it was a worthless file. I can't do anything with it. I'm not doing 5-stop recovery and then do anything with that file. But they do that dramatic recovery to see, is there something there? Because that thing that may resolve it or reveal itself in those dramatic recoveries. Maybe they're in a lesser standpoint when you do it, maybe a 1-stop or 2-stop. So I wouldn't judge the Canon and the Nikon one just yet. Give it a little time to get out there and be reviewed, and people live with it for a little bit. I'm not an early adopter of that kind of stuff, so I'm going to wait and see. Yeah, and Gary says if you're off by 5 stops, you better check your skills. Yeah, I mean, if you're off by 5 stops, that's what you delete in the field. Whoops. Right. What happened there? Didn't take the lens cap off? And you shoot again. All right, so there you go. I don't want to keep covering new cameras all the time because that's just not what we do.
No.
All right.
Especially when Sony's the best one out there anyway. So,
I am glad Sony's there pushing the other guys along. Let's keep pushing each other.
It's really what's great about it. Yes.
Yeah.
Made them step out of their comfort box to make something better, which is going to push Sony in the future as well. So.
And you could say, hey, maybe that Canon and Nikon are already pushing each other, and Fuji and Olympus, they're already pushing each other. Why do they need Sony? I think that all those guys had settled into a certain life and were doing baby steps and that kind of stuff. And they said, hey, we have all these features we're going to add over the next 20 years. Why add them now? We'll slowly do them. And then you have a new guy come in, they've been around for a long time, but new in this segment, and push everybody a little faster. So, hey, I'm all for that. As a consumer, I'm all for that. All right. So enough of the camera stuff. Let's move on. So, Tim, did you hear about this thing? It's kind of a fun little take. It's a unique way of doing this. But in the Netherlands, in Europe, they come out with this new, what is it, the GDPR privacy thing in the EU?
Right. Yeah.
You've probably gone on different websites and they have all these all kind of emails back a few months back, wanting you to opt in or opt out, and just, oh my God, leave me alone. There's just so much of this stuff. So one of these festivals in the Netherlands decided, hey, we're going to comply with the GDPR. We are going to, in our festival, we are going to have these red dots that you can put on your forehead. And if we take pictures, because, hey, you're in a public place, we can take pictures of you. But if we take pictures of you and there's a red dot on your forehead, we will blur you out in the stuff we post online.
I think that's absolutely ludicrous. I hope this wasn't an April Fool.
No, it's not a joke. They really did it.
I can't imagine that happening here and people actually doing it.
Well, okay. So how many people actually did it? Of the 70,000 people who attended, 70,000 plus people who attended the festival, 3 people did it.
Three.
Yeah. 3 people did it. They were handing out little red dots, or if you didn't want to put the dot on there, here's the little dots. You could put red lipstick on your forehead too, but something red they were wanting you to put there, a little red lipstick dot, and they would blur you out if they caught you in the image.
Yeah, it's a lighthearted response to new privacy laws. All right, yeah, and
Now, if you read the comments, somebody said they should have done just the opposite. This is, and said,
you want your picture, then put a red dot in your head.
Yeah,
because you can edit out the red dot.
Yeah. However, I would say, somebody said, I would say that when you're in a public event, you have no right to privacy. Exactly. And you should know that people are taking your picture, and it's going to be used for the event. And so you have no right to privacy. So there should be no in this case, you going to the event is the opt-in.
Yes, I agree with that. And it usually says it on the ticket. Yeah. Your photo likeness and they do used, blah, blah, blah. I think in this case they do, and they said that somewhere here, that the entrance into the event did have that condition that you are agreeing to have your photo taken, that kind of stuff. Just like if you go to an event here in the U.S., you don't have a right to privacy to there. And so, your picture may be taken. Now, there's still limits. I can't take pictures of you guys and sell them all over the place. That kind of stuff. But I thought that was an interesting article and a fun take. Yeah, I can't see it taken off. That one. I cannot see it taken off. People are not going, because so now I'm going to, and think about it, a lot of people don't have editing software that they use on their pictures. So now I'm out with my friends, and my friends want to take pictures, but I'm going to have this red dot on my head. Yeah, to wear, and they don't know how to get rid of the red dot. To wear it everywhere. Yes, it's just insane. They won't know how to get rid of the dot. Yeah. Right. I mean, you and I could do it, but I think about some of my friends would have no clue. They'd be asking me, how do I get rid of this red dot? Yeah, exactly. Now, sometimes I get fussed at in the chat on YouTube, not live guys. The live guys are great, but later on in the recorded version, geez, it took me forever to get to the topic.
The topic for these podcasts are varied. Whatever I put as the title,
Subtitle?
like use the force is not necessarily the opening thing. It could be anywhere in the show. You gotta watch or listen to the whole show. So, but now we're going to get to it. So the thing of use the force, this is a neat little thing that you can do at home or anywhere else. That's really cool. You can do it with your cell phone even. It's a cool little trick. And this guy named Wire Hon, I think is his name. Wire Hon. He's from Malaysia, and he plays with toys, Marvel and DC comic toys, and he uses what's called force perspective to make them look like they're interacting together. So you can see in this scene, it looks like he's telling Thor, I think that's Thor, go over there and put that plant, and then we got Batman back there mopping. And those are, of course, little toys, and they're not the same size as the man.
Right. That is great.
He does this with his cell phone. This is really...
That's with his cell phone. That's amazing.
Yeah, this is really cool. You can play with this at home, and he has a shot down here that will show you how he's doing force perspective. Here you got Deadpool, Hulk, Black Widow, and Hawkeye all standing there, and he kind of has them interact where it looks like he's handing Hulk the keys. I don't know if that's hot sauce or something that Hawkeye has, and Black Widow's giving Hawkeye a look like "come on" or something like that. But that's a cool little interaction. Here he's showing how he does it. So he has his cell phone on the ground. He has Hulk and Batman and Superman. Superman has a broom, and they're closer to the camera. And then he's standing way back from the camera. He's holding the broom.
Right.
So that then results in this image where there is grass in the way and everything. But because of the distance between the two subjects, I got distracted by chat. Because of the distance between the two subjects, they all look similar sized.
Now you have me looking at chat. Thanks. No, I think that is great. Yeah, I mean, it force perspective. I mean, you think about it. A lot of places do this with things. I mean, I go to Disney all the time, and they do it with their buildings. The second floor on Main Street has smaller windows to make it look bigger than it really is. The same with the castles. Yep. But this is really taking it to the extreme, where you have a 4-inch toy to make it look it's as big as him.
Yeah, I want to try this out. I mean, if you've never tried this out,
do I.
This is a cool little trick to do. He's got Deadpool here watering a plant. Here, I guess he's telling Hulk to mow the grass or something. And so he works himself into the photo as if he's given the superheroes chores.
Right. No, I think this is amazing. I mean, you're right, working it because it makes it look the same. And the one of Hulk and him is
I guess Hulk is moving a mattress. And he's telling Hulk to take it upstairs. Posing for pictures with Spider-Man taking a picture of him. And this looks like a girl telling Superman to put on underwear.
Put on some pants.
And when you look at it like this, it looks like she's standing right next to him.
Yeah, absolutely.
But she's got to be multiple yards behind him.
Probably 5 yards behind based on the other picture of him.
Yeah. And I guess that's a little kid kicking
punching
Deadpool.
Him, and it's flying.
Yeah. And then Hulk and Black Widow. And then there you got them all coming, I guess, from shopping. And you have
Hulk's carrying the motorcycle, and you got him in the back.
Yeah. And then there's the whole crew with him. I'm just going to guess him, his wife, and his kid.
Yeah, in the background.
And you have all the characters standing there.
I'll tell you, some people.
A lot of fun.
I wish I had that creativity. I wish I had that creative bone.
And Gary's saying this is why you need a flippy screen. I guess on your, yes, exactly. So the Canon had a flippy screen, where you can flip it, where you can see the image.
Right, I can see mine also.
Yeah, well, the Nikons don't, of course. So if you're using your DSLR setting up on a little tripod, you couldn't see what the actual result was going to be.
Yeah, but I don't. You know what? I think if
you may not be able to see.
Yeah, I was going to say there's no way I could see my screen from over way back down the hallway and see where I am in relation to. I'd probably have to stick my wife there, say, all right, you stand here so I know where I need to stand in the picture. Now, my camera has a wireless remote. Does your camera have one?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, you could do it with that then. See,
I don't know I don't think it does. No, it doesn't. I don't have one.
I have a little credit card sized remote for my camera.
I don't think I do. I will say, I'm sure there's math involved, and you can figure this out mathematically, but just trial and error. Once you find out, all right, with a 4-inch doll or whatever the inch tall of the doll is, and all these look like they're similar except for Hulk. Once you figure out, how far back you need to be from them to give you and the character the same perceived height, then I set them up there. I got to come back 4 feet or whatever that distance is, and I stand there. So you can set up your framing and everything beforehand and then walk back to that predetermined distance and do that. The one thing you wouldn't know if you were trying to hand somebody, one of the characters, something, how far out you would need to go before it looked like you're realistically trying to hand them something. So you have to play with that and find out, but it's probably a lot of fun to do it. I want to do this. This looks like it could be fun.
Oh, I am going to try that.
Yeah. Yeah. Very good. All right.
And see, I would do it like my little Lego creations.
Your little Lego creations.
Yeah. I'd have little buildings and me standing.
That would be cool. That would be cool.
Right. That's how I get my daughter in there with me because she likes it. She likes Lego.
All right. I was going to do talk about fall foliage, but I think as we're heading here today, and we'll talk about that later. Fall is getting closer here. I'm sure where you are, Tim, in the New York area, where I'm in the Atlanta area, although we were at 92 degrees today, it's getting closer and closer. And we'll talk about that next show. We'll talk about fall photos next show. How's that?
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. Jan says 80 picture of Darth Vader. I don't know. Yeah, that'd be interesting. So I want
Darth Vader.
I want to talk about a pick of the week. So what did I do last time? Pick of the week. I did the pick of the week doesn't necessarily always mean something good.
Oh, it wasn't. Yeah, it was the lens cap.
It was the lens cap. So this week it is something that I really like. I think I've talked about it before, but I've never really shown it. So tonight I'm going to try and show it. It's a little bit of show and tell. And I'm going to bring over this shot. And let's see if we can get this in there. This, I've talked about it before. Ugh. This is my airport essentials bag. And I probably ought to move this water before I spill it. So I'm not going to do a full review on this, but this is the airport essentials. It fits very well into an overhead on just about any plane. So it's not going to be huge, but I'm going to give you a little bit of perspective in how much you can hold. So it is, I forget the price on it. I'll show you the website when we're done. But I took this to Alaska. I really love this bag. It was a great bag. It was comfortable to carry and everything. Yeah, and I forgot to bring one thing down. But anyway, you have to pretend like I have it. So it has here in this first flap where you can put a tablet. It has, some other little area to hold stuff. I have pens. It has a Velcro area where you can put more stuff. I think I have, notepad or something where I can put that there. You can, I guess, put your keys on this, all that kind of stuff. All kind of little things, little pockets in this thing. That was very useful and very quick to get to some of those bigger things. Like I think I put my passport into there.
Did you get in there a small laptop?
Yes. So
it's perfect.
What I would say is that if the laptop can go in this section here, and then a tablet can go right in there.
Oh, all right. Oh, that's even better. Yeah.
So you could fit a laptop. I don't remember what size it is. I think maybe it's 13 inch.
Probably 13 inch.
Yeah, and then a tablet right here. I did take a tablet and stuck it in there. I think it was, or maybe there, whatever. But that was very useful. If you like a backpack type thing, I love this bag. There is a section up here at the top. You can see a little section up here in the top where you can put some stuff. It does fit my passport. It fit my wife and I's passport where I can stick it in there. It was a little bit hard to get out, but you can put your keys and a few other little things in there. There's even a little, I don't know what you use this for, but a little section there that you can fit about that much of my fingers in there, if you can see that, where you can put something in there. There on the side, there is this locking cable where you can only lock one of the zippers. So like I would lock the main, look at this. I think I zipped that into that, but I would lock these main guys. So you'd run it through the little hooks right there, and I would lock that. So the main entrance into my bag I would have locked.
Right.
And you set the code and that's locked. But most of the time I'm with my bag, so it wasn't that big of a deal to do that. It has a handle. If I flip that back, it has a handle on the side. So and a handle on the bottom. So when you're putting it into overnight, you might grab both. Right. You might grab both of those and do that. It has nice, good padding. I did not use this thing, but I did, of course, the straps.
Yeah, that's meant to go around your waist. And I mean, if you're doing a lot of backpacking going up a mountain, that would make sense.
I, of course, use this to go across my chest. That held it in place really good so it doesn't slide. These things are on a slider. So, where I need it to be on my chest may be different from where you need it to be. So you can easily adjust, that to be at a higher or lower level for you, how it fits. It has some nice little rings here if you want to attach, something onto the rings. That'll be in the front part of your body. Then on this side, it has where you could put a water bottle, or I use it to put my tripod, legs into there, and then these two straps to hold it in. So lots of little compartments in this little compact bag. It may look big here, but it's really is fairly decent size. So now let's go into the body itself. And first thing I'm going to show you is this top section. So two big mesh areas where you can put stuff into these. And
I like that it's mesh also, so you can easily see it.
Yeah, you can easily see it and do that. In the body of it, let's take these guys out. So the extra dividers, you set it up however you want to have it set up. This is a cover, so it is already water resistant. This is supposed to make it like waterproof. Not like dump it into a lake, but like if it's pouring down rain and you put this on it, I just leave it in the bag. So let me get a little bit of gear and let's stick it in here so you can see it.
Okay.
All right. Oh, I should have had this stuff closer. All right. First thing, always got to take a 70 to 200, right?
Right. Absolutely.
So that fits in there with actually a little bit of extra room. I don't know how that happened. Then I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to tell you why I don't put it like that. So if you put your body in there, I don't know how well you can see that, but right there, it's coming to about the top of the lens. This sits too high. If you have a grip,
if you have the drive on.
So with this bag, I have to take the thing off. So I would take it off. Then I stick the body in there. And then I would stick this in this section. All right. Then we're going to take a 35 millimeter. Then we're going to take my 12 to 24. Then I would take this, which is the stabilizer for my, what is it called? The DJI Osmo 2. And this is the stabilizer to put your phone on. I would stick that in there. Then I would have extra memory cards. Probably stick them in there. Where did I stick them? I stick them right there. Then my rocket blower.
I just bought a new one.
Then this was a strap to hold on to the thing, so I'll put it around my wrist so it wouldn't do that. And then the thing I forgot to bring is the other thing I'd put right here is a rain jacket. I'd take a rain jacket, fold it up, put it in there, so as I'm walking out in Alaska, if it started to rain, I just take it out of my bag, put the rain jacket on, and do all that. So this little bag, and you could organize this differently. You saw that I took some of I had extra of these, so you can, all these things come out.
Right, make it so things don't bounce around in there.
Yeah, so you can take all those things out and move it around the way you want. Very comfortable to use bag. As you put more gear in, of course, it will get heavier, but the things were very comfortable to wear. I walked a lot with this bag. I would make things a little tighter, than that. That's a little loose. You don't want that flying around like that. But if you like a backpack, think about take a look at the Think Tank Airport Essentials. They have a lot of different things to choose from in the Airport Essentials line or Airport line. So this is my smaller bag. The one thing you'll notice with it is I do have the 70-200 in here. I think I have tried to put in my 120-300, which is a much bigger lens than this.
Right.
And the two of them don't go well into this bag. It will fit, but it will stretch out the sides a little bit. And it's not a great fit.
I like that. But if I bought another bag, my wife would probably kill me.
And I was going to look and see what the price is on this bag.
I think it was $199 when I looked at it.
$199, yeah. And like I'd say, or I've said before, one bag does not fit all.
No, it doesn't.
You're never going to, I don't think you'll ever find a perfect bag, but I do love this bag. So I'm going to show you one more, because I love this one. Oops. Hope I didn't need that. I did get his big brother, because one of the needs I have that I've never been able to fill, Tim, is when I go to a local event, when I go somewhere local, I almost always want my 70-200, but I also want my 120-300, or maybe the 200-500, a big lens. I want my biggest lens too. So that bag I just showed you is not big enough for that. This bag is. Now it may look like the exact same bag, and it really is, except it's much deeper and much bigger. So I'm not going to be able to show them side by side, but yeah. I'll give you an example as we go into.
So is that the commuter, or
this is the Accelerator, Airport Accelerator. Yeah. So this one's a little more expensive. This one's $279. And when I open this up, it's probably going to cover.
You could see how deep it is, really.
Yeah. So it is super deep. Let me get all those guys out of there. Super deep. We're going to put that 70-200.
It's going to get lost in there.
Yeah, it does. You can see I have to do crazy things right here to stick it in there to make it somewhat tight. And look how tiny that 70-200 looks in there.
Yeah.
So now we're going to put a much bigger lens. And this is the 120-300. And it's not tight in there. It has lots of room.
Yeah. And
now let's put the
camera with the battery pack on.
So I'm going to have to put the battery pack back on. Oh boy, I brought all kind of stuff. Wow, what's happening here?
You're putting it on upside down.
I am. Let's pretend like it's connected. As we put that in there, it sits flush with the top. So it definitely sits much better in there. And I got lots of more room. This is not a great layout for this bag and this gear, but I could actually put a second body right here.
Mm-hmm.
I got spaces for additional lenses, additional gear all around. So with this bag, I could actually take my two main lenses. I could take both big lenses if I wanted, and two bodies, and additional gear.
But that's big on your back.
So I have taken this to a softball game already with the pretty much what you see here, but I think I had a couple more lenses. The weight doesn't go away.
No.
There's no magic that all of a sudden the weight's gone, but it does do a decent job of distributing the weight to where, I've had shoulder bags before. Let's go ahead and get rid of this and find out what all I knocked off my desk.
I don't see your mouse anymore. No, there it is.
Back to us. There we go. I've had shoulder bags before where I've tried to carry those two lenses that you saw there, the 70-200 and the 120-300, to a game, and oh my God, it was horrible on my shoulder because it was so big, so much weight. Having it distributed on both, and it does a good job of padding on the back too. It does help, but obviously you're not going hiking with that kind of gear.
Right.
You need to pick what you want to take. So when I went to Alaska, I don't want to, for what I was doing, I didn't want to take that big guy. If you're going out to shoot, if you're on a cruise, you most likely don't need this kind of gear, that kind of bag, to go with the airport essentials where you can take smaller stuff. If you're going on a photo safari specific thing, you want to take everything you got probably.
Exactly.
And that's where maybe that bag comes in, or maybe something you can roll.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if you're on a safari, it's not easy to roll something either. I always think the backpack is easier. Sometimes the hardest part is getting access to what you need to get access, because you got to lay it down to open it up. So you have to have the room for that as well. So there's a lot of challenges to taking a lot of camera gear, but there are times, like you said, you absolutely need it.
Yeah. Well, with the airport essentials that I took, I had a mixture of gear in there, the gear that I really needed, and then some other things that I might need, like the raincoat I talked about, the rain jacket, some other little things like that, and also the DJI Osmo 2 for the cell phone. So I had all that in there, and it was pretty easy to get in and out of it. You do have to take it off your back, of course, to get in there, but it was pretty easy to get in and out. I did find Tim, and this is something I see ADs out there now. He'll probably say, "Of course, Mike." I always had to put this arm into the shoulder straps first, and then this arm. You know why? Because when I would put this arm in, when I would try to then put my left arm in with the Fitbit on it, the Fitbit would always grab, because now it's tighter because you already have one shoulder pad on. When you go to put the remaining shoulder on, it's a little bit tighter fit. And so when this arm comes around, my Fitbit would every time catch that.
I have the same exact thing. I have to put my left arm in first.
Yeah. And it took me probably 3 or 4 times of saying, "Dadgummit," before I finally figured out, why don't you just put your left arm with the Fitbit through the shoulder pad first, and then the other arm? And like, good grief. And then AD saying, "Of course, Mike." So it did take me a few times, but I finally figured it out. And yes, don't just keep trying the same thing over and over again. Try something different. All right. Well, that was my pick of the week. If you are interested, I can show you the webpage. If you're interested in backpacks, you're looking for a new, If you're looking for a new backpack, a new bag, because you've never found anything that satisfied you, go over and look at Think Tank. I bought that first one. I love the first one, the Airport Essentials. I bought the second one now, the Airport Accelerator. I probably won't use it as much, but when I have used it, I loved it. So for me, I'm now thinking, if I need another bag, I'm probably going to go look at Think Tank first. Before this,
where do you store your equipment when it's home?
So it becomes a problem, because these bags are not small. And where do you put all these bags? Because now...
But now, do you store your camera equipment in the bag or
no,
out
I do
of the
not.
bag?
So you can probably... Let's go back to this. You can see the shelves behind me over here. There's a shelf right off the camera where all my gear is sitting there. So all my gear sits there. And then when I go, I take it off the shelf and put it in there. And it's organized in a certain order.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't generally keep it in a bag. Once I get home, I take everything out of the bag and then stick the bags off to the side somewhere where they're not in the way, because they're kind of bulky.
Right.
And, now I have, like, I'm sure lots of people, you have multiple bags, and along the way, you've never found one that was just perfect. But for me, that Airport Essential is close to it. You looking for your bag?
I have one there, 2, 3, 4. And I'm missing my main bag. Yeah, it's probably upstairs. I probably have like 6 bags. That's what my wife said. You're like a girl. You like pocketbooks.
Well, I think that it's one of those things. The more space you have, the more stuff you'll buy to fill that space.
Absolutely. Yeah, I don't have any empty space.
And I don't want to be flagged for content, but George Carlin, a comedian, used to say, "My stuff is stuff. Your stuff is blank." So start with a S and ends with a it. He said it in a much funnier way than I did, but yeah.
Yeah, I have plenty of stuff.
Well, that was it for this week. Next week, let's go over. I have a couple of items we can go over next week. Let's try and take some of those forced perspective shots there, Tim. That looks like it's fun.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to try that. Hopefully, the weather's nice this weekend.
Yep. Speaking of this weekend, this Sunday, we have show number 35, I think it is, a photo review show. We're finally done with June. We're moving into the July images as we catch up. June was a big month. It took 3 shows to do it. But we're going to be doing July this Sunday. Yep, so be looking for that. So until next show, keep it raw. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Ask neural network if your photo is good or not. How that's interesting, AD. I wonder. See, select and drag. Let's see if I can find a photo on this computer.
Yes, if your photo is good or not. Yeah, I'd be scared to see what that tells me.
No, I can't use somebody else's photos for this. On the computer, I have this on. I don't know if it has. All right, hold on. Your photo sucks.
do. I wonder.
0.4.
Wow.
Chance that this image is awesome. 0.4.
Wow, talk about demoralizing. Now, this is the picture that was stolen, or it's
a similar.
It's very close.
It's a similar one. It looks a little cropped in the sample that they're showing.
0.4 that this is awesome.
0.4 that this is awesome. So let's see if we can't do another one.
Well, you want to get down to 0.3?
Yeah, we're just going to see how awful all my images are. 0.4. Hey, 9%. I'm up to 9. I'm off to 0.4. I don't even know what some of these are. That one right there that was up there, 1.3. Yeah, that one's got problems. The one that said 9%, I had a hospital try and buy it from me. They wanted to put it in their lobby. We ultimately couldn't agree on the price. Yeah, look at those massive halos on that photo. That's awful. Oh, submit. Come on, capture. Submit. $1.3. Oh, wait.
Whoa.
88.9.
I wonder why.
I wonder why it chose that one as awesome. I much prefer the others.
Because you don't like this picture, or?
Blockchain in 181 was Was that the thing I had up earlier, Chris?
See, now I would submit that picture like another time and see, like submit that 0.4% one and see if it gives you the same answer now.
Yeah. All right, Tim. So you want me to
try the original picture, see if it gives you the same result.
Which one was that? It wasn't Beauty After Range. It was.
It's the one that sucked.
End of Another Day. I think it was this one. Well, hopefully it's not randomizing. It's using some kind of algorithm that should result in the same number.
Right. It should be 0.4.
I'm not doing the second one. I'm doing this one again. Yeah, and it came back with the same number.
Yeah, but go back to the original picture that you put up, the 0.4, and see if it does the same answer now.
Was it this? I don't remember which one it was now.
It was the one from your city hall or whatever.
I got so many of those, and I don't give them great names. This one. Yeah, okay, this one. Let's see if we get the same 0.4.
Yeah.
0.4!
Oh, I feel good about that. Yeah, I feel good about it.
Oh, okay, so now that leads some credibility to scoring.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, your picture does suck. You notice it's a foreground sucks. It doesn't like all the, not enough detail to the picture.
Well, and the thing you're seeing is the image crop. It's not showing you the whole image, it's cropping part of it.
So that's funny.
What the hell? Oh, is it too big? Yeah, I chose one too big. No, that's not too, yeah, that's too big. Where is, yes. %. Where's the one? I want to find the one that actually won one of the contests. Not that just because it won means that it's a great photo. Ah, that's too big. It's not going to fit. I can't upload it. Yep. Ah, was that too big too? Yeah, some of these I haven't done yet are too big. Oh, this one's awful. Let's see what it rates this one.
%1 again?
No, it hasn't finished.
Oh.
0.1.
0.1. I guess it doesn't like black and white pictures.
Again, this image is cropped weird and it looks weird at what you're seeing here. So the image is a little bit better than this in real life. But yeah, 0.1.
That's a joke. You may as well just delete it now.
Well, this is a lot of fun, AD. You gave me a great site. I want to... Oh, and Gary says, yeah, just sort by size. Yeah, I was going through. I wanted to... What's some of the ones I wanted to test are too big. They're over the 10 meg limit. I guess I can try something else. Let's see. I gotta use my own images. Yeah, 0.1 superstar. There you go. I'm going for the anti-superstar. Wish I could find some of my favorite sport ones. Try one of those. There's one of them that I love this image if I could find it. I got thousands of swimming ones, so finding it without Lightroom is going to be impossible. But give me a second. We'll just see. Nope, not there. This is riveting, I know, but just we're in post-show. Oh, here we go. Okay, let's try. Let's try. See if we can get above 1% with this one.
What does that say? Oh, no. I thought it said the same thing. 0.
0%. This one is awesome.